Good morning, everyone. My name is Jennifer Corbett from the Office of the State Payroll Services, and I'd like to thank you for attending today's 2021 Fall Conference presentation. Today's presentation is the PayServ Batch Schedule Overview, and it's being offered by the Bureau of State Payroll Services. Your presenters today will be Melissa Hyde and Matt McGeady. Before we start, I need to go over a few housekeeping items. Your microphones will remain muted throughout the presentation. And using your headphones will increase your sound quality. The session will be recorded and will be available shortly after the fall conference finishes later this week. At the top of the screen, there's a blue control bar that expands to display your WebEx controls. Questions regarding the presentation should be answered in the Q&A feature over to the right. Questions will be monitored and either answered at the end of the presentation, or if time does not permit, the questions will be collected and answered and posted along with the presentation online. If you have any technical problems during the presentation, please try signing out and back in again using Chrome or Edge browsers. If you continue to have issues, though, you can also email payroll@osc.ny.gov for additional assistance. You will receive a survey to complete after this presentation. Please complete and submit the survey so that we may continue to improve your fall conference experience. Now, please welcome Melissa and Matt, who will be your presenters.
Good morning. And thank you, everyone, for attending the PayServ Batch Schedule Overview session. My name is Matthew McGeady, and joining me today will be Melissa Hyde. We are both managers over the System Support Group in Payroll Services, or SSG. The System Support Group's main objective is to ensure that the PayServ system is operating both functionally and systematically every day to ensure that the weekly payroll is processed accurately and timely. In addition, we work with agencies in our payroll operations group to review, analyze, and test system changes with our technical group. This requires SSG to be familiar with both operational and technical lingo, as we will discuss throughout this presentation. Behind the scenes, as operations and agencies do their day-to-day work to get ready to process payroll, the PayServ system has a nightly batch schedule that builds, calculates, and updates employee data to create the paychecks each week. As most of you are aware, the PayServ system has daily hours that allow agencies into the system to make changes throughout the week. Monday through Friday, the system is available from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. At that time, the system does come down for backups, and the nightly batch schedule begins. The system is also available on Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., where the system again comes down for backups, and our nightly batch schedule begins. Sunday, there is no regular availability. However, we will make exceptions to open the system, and we'll work with the agencies depending on the need. If you do need to extend hours, please reach out to your earnings auditor to discuss the next steps. As I stated earlier, we run a daily schedule every day to process the payroll each week. Our schedule starts on Friday night, which is our day 1, and completes on Thursday night, which is our day 7 each week. We process over 300 programs throughout that 7-day schedule, which includes programs that processes union dues, pay group assignments, position updates, query refreshes, and calculates the payroll. In addition to our daily schedule, we process monthly, quarterly, and annual schedules. These schedules purge audit tables, have quarterly and year-end tax reporting processing, and of course our W-2 processing. Outside of our defined schedule, we also run programs on request like union raises, performance advances, W-2C processing, workers' comp cleanup, and other programs. As an agency who processes the payroll, you should be familiar with the agency submission schedule. This document provides agencies the deadlines to process online transactions, time entry payments, automated interface or AI file processing. The processing each agency works off is the payroll period. For example, admin line 9 lag, but for the system side. We process everything based on the check dates. For SSG and the batch schedule, we focus on the 3 pay cycles, lag, extra lag, and current, for both admin and institution payrolls per week. For example, the admin 9 lag, admin 9 extra lag, and admin 10 current all get processed in our batch schedule for the check date of 8/18/2021. All these deadlines are incorporated into the batch schedule. Later in the presentation, I will show you how the agency schedule integrates with our actual batch schedule. One of the two most high volume transaction processes are related to the automated interface of the AI program. This process allows agencies the ability to bulk transaction for job, ADL pay, and personal data transactions. There are three programs that make up the AI process: the NHRP 573, which is the transaction file, the NHRP 574, which is the feedback reports, and the NAPA 002, which adds approved transactions to the payroll system. The NHRP 573 is submitted by agencies daily and can be submitted multiple times a day. These files are run every day except for on Sunday afternoon, and the files are processed every hour until 5 p.m. Once these files are processed, the NHRP 574 program is also run, which creates error and feedback reports for all transactions submitted to by the agencies and sent back for the agencies to take any necessary actions. Every night, with the exception of Wednesday night's schedule, the NAPA 2 program runs early in the schedule, which will roll the transactions into the PayServ system. By rolling the transactions, these are adding to job, personal data, and other tables within the system. The agency submission schedule drives when these transactions will be added to the PayServ system each week. When this program runs, an additional NHRP 574 feedback report is generated to let the agencies know if there are any additional errors, the status of the transactions, and which transactions did roll into the system. Agencies can use these files to correct errors, resubmit transactions both via AI or online, or as long as it follows the submission schedule cutoff dates, which for AI and online transactions are approximately 2 weeks prior to the check date. The other high volume process is our time entry related programs. This consists of the NPay 502, the time entry transaction file, the NPay 535, the time entry extract, and the NPay 501, the pay sheet load. Agencies submit NPay 502 transactions throughout the week, in addition to keying transactions online. The time entry period is open approximately 2 weeks prior to the confirm of the payroll, which is 1 week prior to the actual check date. The cutoff for these transactions are the Wednesday before confirm of that payroll. All the transactions that are in the system by that cutoff date will be extracted by the NPay 535 program and loaded to the pay lines by the NPay 501 that Monday before confirm. Melissa will now walk you through our daily schedule.
Good morning, everyone. As Matt said, I'm going to walk through the daily schedules, which highlight the main programs included in our schedule that you as agencies may be interested in. Our schedules always begin on a Friday, which we refer to as our day one. At this time of the week, the previous schedule has been completed, or what we refer to as confirmed, and all the reporting for vendors as well as agencies reports have been completed. On Friday, day one, the pay sheets are built for the new upcoming check date. These initial pay sheets are created for all employees who are annual salary employees within our system, including their base pay. The combined employee ID is run to address any employees who may have been inadvertently hired twice. This program will combine the records into one, including all the balances and employee data. Other important programs run on this day's schedule include the initial calc of those pay sheets created and the adjustments of retro contract pay. Day two Saturday schedule runs the accounting programs that report to the statewide financial system. These programs are run for the previous week's check. For instance, this Wednesday, we will confirm the institution check date of 11/4. The accounting transactions related to the earnings expenditures will be sent to the statewide financial system the following Saturday, 10/30. So agencies will see those journals in SFS prior to the actual check date. Agencies who receive back-end split distribution files will also receive those when that schedule is complete. Other programs to highlight on this day are the RetroCalc and the DCS position certification. When referring to the specific retro calculations, the system retrieves any updates or transactions that have been entered for employees for previous effective dates and have triggered a retro for those employees. This calculation determines the amount of money owed or overpaid. Okay, Sundays. These are our system maintenance days Typically, we're not running any programs on this day unless we have any on-request programs that we need to run. That would normally take a long time to run, and we would prefer not to run it when other schedules are running. The programs that load all the self-service paychecks and advices are also created, allowing self-service users the ability to see their paycheck for the upcoming check. Monday, day 4. Our Monday, day 4 schedule, this schedule includes the time entry load to the pay sheets for anything that was entered online or automated through the time entry interface known as the 502 that Matt had referred to earlier in the slides. The retro calc is run again for any new transactions that may have been entered. In addition, another regular calc is run for the pay sheets that are currently in a to be calculated status and any new pay sheets created from the time entry load. Lastly, for our Monday, we also run all the DCS certification programs. These programs process inbound files from NISTEP, and then report are produced to indicate what employees have not been certified. Moving on to Tuesday, day 5, any retro that is calculated for employees on the current cycle get loaded to the pay sheets on this nightly batch schedule. The regular calc of those pay sheets is run before those retro amounts are loaded, and then it is run again to recalculate. This is the last day for any job transactions to take effect for an open paycheck. On this schedule, there is a program run to turn the job pay flag off. We are also calculating the employees with contract auto pay on this nightly schedule. Okay, big day of the week, our confirm day. On the Wednesday, day 6 schedule, operations is finalizing all of their audits and running calcs in the system to make sure any last minute errors or issues are corrected before finalizing the payroll for the week. The presentation does show specific times in here with a noon calc, 3 p.m. final calc, followed by the confirm. And over the past year or so, those schedules have been modified to run some of these schedules earlier in the day to allow for more time to correct any issues. Once these paychecks have been confirmed on this day, the remainder of the batch schedule is run, including the process of the initial bank files, the direct deposit, and the check printing. Also included in the nightly batch on this day that might not be highlighted here and is worth mentioning to any payroll users interested in the accounting process within PayServ is the paycheck distribution. Payroll officers who need to make position pool updates for the current cycle will need to enter these changes in before Wednesday, which is confirm day. Once the distribution is completed, which I'll get to in the next slide, the agency payroll officers can then see their distributions and make any funding changes, which on that submission schedule is known to as the back-end splits. The last day of the schedule, Thursday, day 7, this day, the day of the schedule, operations is getting ready to confirm the special schedule. This schedule is used for any checks that had errors from the previous day or employees who are continuously paid on the special schedule. Once this process is completed, the remainder of the day is used for confirming emergency payrolls or off-cycle processing, which includes AC 230 process that some of you may be familiar with. In the previous slide, I mentioned paycheck distribution. While that program is run on the Wednesday schedule, it is also run again on the special schedule, and we do not consider the distribution completed until it is run on that Thursday batch. Since there could be issues with the schedules and timing on this day, we typically ask payroll officers not to make any back-end split changes until Friday. All of the accounting reports are created for accounting operations and treasury to release the checks and bank files, and on the nightly batch, we're running all the back-end reports to complete the schedule. These reports, including the master file, are either posted to Control D or sent to the vendors or agencies. The tax and deductions journals are also submitted to the statewide financial system. And that concludes our day 1 through 7. I'll turn it back over to Matt.
Thanks, Melissa. So as I stated earlier, we wanted to show you guys a quick example of how the agency and operations work and the system processing all kind of blends together. To process one payroll check, it takes about 4 weeks to enter in transactions, audit the payroll, calculate and confirm the paychecks, and finally make the payment to the employers, vendors, and taxing authorities. The example for the check date of 3/18 shows the pay period opening on the 20th of February and allowing AI and online transactions to be submitted into PayServ. That Tuesday, the 25th, the time entry transactions can be entered online or submitted via the MPay 502. The following week is the last day for AI transactions and online job and time entry transactions to be submitted. This happens on the 3rd and 4th, respectively. As the remainder of the week has other jobs that will run, like our retro calculations, the actual PayServ Day 7 batch schedule for the check date of 3/18 will start on the Friday night of the 6th. By Wednesday the 11th, the paychecks have been confirmed and the back-end reporting will begin, all leading up to the check date of 3/18. As you can see, it takes a lot of moving parts from all parties to get a successful and accurate payroll process for the state of New York.
Okay, and then lastly, we just want to mention some quick items. We have recently experienced some issues with reconciling reports within the Bureau of State Accounting Operations and found they were related to some changes agencies and or self-service users have been making during that Thursday morning special schedule that I previously talked about. We're working on our end to see what we can do to address this, but we would also ask that agencies communicate that changes should not be made to employees' direct deposit opt-out status on those Thursday mornings. Also remember to communicate to your IT contacts. If you see something that you post that may affect schedules or processing times, we try as best as we can to outreach to as many users as possible, but if you're reading a payroll bulletin message that we've posted or you see a bulletin that may impact the processing of your payroll, please feel free to reach out to them if you know who they are and give it a mention. We would greatly appreciate it. Okay, that concludes our presentation for today. If you have any questions, as the last slide mentions, you can feel free to contact the Payroll Systems Questions mailbox, and one of our staff from the System Support Group can get back to you as soon as possible. And if we have any questions, we'll open it up to questions in the chat. Matt, Melissa, thank you both very much for presenting today. We'll leave the chat box open for about 5 minutes. If there's any questions that come up that anyone thinks of, otherwise we will close it out at that time, and then they can send the questions later on to that mailbox. For those of you joining us today, if you'd like to come back and join us for our last payroll presentation, it starts at 10 a.m. and it's the OSC and agency processing schedule. That concludes today's presentation. Like I said, the box will be open for about 5 minutes. Thank you. Have a good one. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you.
Hi, we did get a question from Carrie. The question is, there are date ranges for the online deductions, taxes, direct deposit for each payroll period. Are those entries and cutoff dates? For example, should deductions not be entered on that specific payroll after that date range? I'll write the answer, but I'll say it out loud. But yes, those cutoff dates are intended so that you do not put in things. This ensures that the changes that you'll make for deductions, taxes, or direct deposit are accurately reflected in that check. Anything past those cutoff dates could mean that those deductions, taxes, or the direct deposit changes will not be reflected in that check. So we do recommend that you follow those guidelines for that.
Okay, I don't see any additional questions at this time, so I think we will turn off the Q&As for now, and if anybody is still out there and has a question, they can email them to the mailbox. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.